Hey there, welcome back to our week on factoring. Today we're going to talk about how do we factor a quadratic when the leading coefficient is greater than 1. So let's take a look at our first example. We have 6x squared plus 19x plus 10. And a lot of people struggle when this number isn't a 1. So it'd be much nicer if it was just x squared plus 19x plus 10. That would be great, but it isn't. So I'm going to teach you a method called slide and divide. So what we're going to do first is we are going to take A times C, and we are going to multiply these values together. This is the slide part of the example. So we're going to bring down the x squared, bring down the 19x, but then you're going to take 6 times 10, and we get plus 60. Now, we're going to use the method we learned yesterday about using our calculator to find the factors that multiply to give me 60, but add to give me 19. So we're going to go in our calculator and go to y equals, and we're going to type in our new c value, 60, and we're going to divide by x. Then if we go to our table, we have all the different values that multiply to give me 60 and also add to give me 19. So if we look at our list here, we can see we have negative values and positive. And we're looking for a positive 19. So let's take a look. And if you scroll down here, oh, there it is. 4 times 15 will give me 60. And 4 plus 15 will give me 19. So we're going to factor the quadratic just like we would yesterday. We're going to have x plus 4 and x plus 15. All right, so like I said earlier, we did the slide, which was multiply A times C, and now you're going to do the divide, So just because we multiplied by 6 doesn't mean that 6 didn't go anywhere. We still have to include that in our answer. So what you're going to do is divide each factor we found by 6. This is called balancing the equation. If we're going to multiply at the beginning, we have to divide at the end. So now, take a look at these factors, okay? 4 divided by 6. Well, that simplifies to a 2 and a 3 because they're both divisible by 2. The 15 and the 6, they're both divisible by 3, so we can simplify those to a 5 and a 2. Now notice we have values left over in the denominator. We have a 3 and a 2. Now these numbers, if you have anything in the denominator, go back up and become your coefficients again, just like they were at the beginning. So just like we had a coefficient with x squared, you'll now have coefficients with your x. So we're going to slide those numbers back up. We have 3x plus 2, because that 4 simplified to a 2. And then we have 2x plus 5. And just a really quick check, let's just make sure here, 3x times 2x, that gives me 6x squared. 2 times 5, that gives me 10. And if you want to check the middle number, we could FOIL it all out and make sure that it adds to give me 19x in the middle. But again, this is what we call slide and divide. Let's practice another one. All right, here's our next example. We have 8x squared minus 14x minus 15. So we're going to start with our slide, and we're going to multiply these two numbers together. Keep x squared the way it is, minus 14x, and then we're going to have 8 times negative 15. So again, we're going to take 8 times negative 15. That's going to give me negative 120. Kind of a big number, but now we can go to our calculator to help me factor that 120. So go back to y equals. Let's clear this out. We have negative 120 divided by x. Second table. Okay, so here are all the numbers that multiply to give you 120. And we need two numbers that will add to give me negative 14. So because these numbers, if you can see here, 1 and negative 120, that's way too big. We need numbers that are closer together. So if we keep scrolling, 5 and negative 124 is pretty close. But if you look here, 6 and negative 20, if I add those, I get negative 14. So what I can do now is I factor. X squared splits up evenly. Negative 120 becomes positive 6 and a negative 20. And that's because these are the numbers that will add to give me negative 14. But remember, you did the slide. Now you have to do the divide. So I'm going to go back to my red pen here, and we are going to divide both numbers by the 8, whatever we used at the beginning to multiply. So divide by 8, divide by 8. And now we just need to simplify these. All right. And if it helps, I can make a whole new fraction just to show you. 6 over 8 are both divisible by 2. So that becomes 3 over 4. And negative 20, actually I'm just going to forget about the negative and just think 20 over 8. They're both divisible by 4. So that becomes 5 over 2. And those numbers left in the denominator, they go back up and become coefficients again. So now we have 4x plus 3 times 2x minus 5. And I can do a quick check. 4x times 2x, 8x squared. 3 times negative 5, negative 15. And I'm sure if I FOIL it all out, it'll work again. Check back tomorrow for more tips on factoring.